Good evening, everybody. Jim and I had gremlins creeping all over our computers tonight. Okay, so here's a good example of you don't sell in May and go away, especially when you have the ability of using candlestick charts to tell you what the market is doing and which sectors are moving well. So even in the deadest of trading times, there's always going to be something that's working. So as we can see in the Dow, never gone below the T-line, which is always one very relevant indicator. And then two, when it has a little congestion and breaks out, it's going to the next target, which in this case, we kind of logically projected that it was going to go to the 200. Now, the next question is, will the NASDAQ go to the 200? Which would mean if it did, that means the Dow would probably go up through the 200. Oh, forget what I was typing here. And the transportation index is right there. Same scenario. Whether the doji and the transportation index right here on the 200, we'll get a much more clear indication of whether they're going to take things higher. And as of right now, it's showing the futures are off a little bit, but I think they must have been up after hours. Well, maybe not. Anyways. Okay. So this is why I like going back through the different patterns. That if we know what should be happening at breakout levels, that gives us a much stronger clue of what the price movement is going to be. So what do we look for on a fry pan bottom breakout? A big breakout. So it would have been a little bit dicey here, but as soon as it came back up through this level the next day, that told us that this pattern was working. Now, if we know the pattern is working, now we can kind of figure out what the next price movement would look like. In this case, it looks like it's going to be a 45-degree trading higher. Another fry pan bottom breakout on ARRY. That would have been dicey, but then you had a trend kicker signal, and what's that tell us? That we're probably going to have more upside. So when we know all the results of a signal, like a kicker signal at pretty much a breakout level, that implies there's going to be enough strength from the kicker signal to take it through a resistance level and produce a good, strong price move. So tomorrow, you probably want to keep an eye on, now that's not the right one. I goofed up. That was supposed to be a segue chart right after this one. Fry pan bottom breakout on Bed Bath & Beyond. There's kind of our message, and then the J hook. So the important factor right here is not whether this was a good move or not. The important factor was that there was a dramatic change of investor sentiment. So now you can be a lot more alert as to what type of pattern is setting up to be prepared for it. So when this broke up to the upside, what do we expect coming out of a fry pan bottom? A strong price move. I'm not clear in the term, the message. The message, Gary, is they gap it up, big move to the upside, and then they start selling it off. Doesn't really look good, but we are already, alerted to the message. The message was they gapped this up. There's a lot new interest coming into that trade. Now, you watch to see when the consolidation or the profit taking is over, and that's when we start buying on the next buy signal. This is just the message. Even though it doesn't look good, there was a message there. Maybe I should rename it to something. I can't figure out what that is. So same thing here. Big profit taking. And pulled right back to the expected T-line and started back up. What's this? This was a big message that even though it didn't look good here, the message was they are now have a new interest, a new dynamic in that price move. That's your message right there. This gap up, kind of coming out of a strong pattern, but that's not a good looking chart. They open it and they're trading it off. But we're already expecting the message that they gapped it up. Just wait for that profit taking to end. Then you have a good probability your next price move will be oh, that's why I typed in the wrong. That's okay. I get so confused. So there's your rhythm J-hook pattern. That's why I was supposed to segue right into this one. There's your J-hook pattern on NVIB. So this is just to kind of reveal the normal price movement of human nature, that J-hook type pattern. We're going to be looking at a few of these tonight. What caused this fry pan bottom breakout? There's your kicker signal. Add more elements. Kicker signal right at the 50, up through the, off the T line, out through this level. That's just a good high probability trade setup. And we know what should happen on a 45 degree. Look at your fry pan bottom breakout. If I didn't buy it this day, I'd be buying it on this day. Well, no, not yet. Nah. Oh, wait a minute. Now we can see the J-hook trajectory. And not only can you see the J-hook trajectory, but you got right back here to that resistance level. What type of signal do we see right here? Well, there's your doji sandwich. What do we know from a doji sandwich? There's going to be more upside. When they start moving like this, what's our next terminology? 45 degree, as long as it stays up above the T line. So the reason I like to point these out is back in my younger days, I'd get so nervous and I'd say, well, that's not a sell signal. But I know what we should know now is what is the expected result? Kicker signal, big breakout. I'm now more anticipating a 45 degree versus getting whipsawed in and out of a good trade. Same scenario on, there's your message again. Fry pan bottom breakout, not good. Wouldn't be buying on this day. Wouldn't be buying on this day. Maybe getting ready to buy, and not really strong enough yet. Now over here, look what's happening. Right there, you got another doji sandwich. So what's our expectation? 45 degree. right here, I might have stopped out or closed out half the position. That if it needs to open higher and trade higher. Now, if it did, I've still got a half a position that's still making money in a much higher risk area. What else? Okay, so this is what I was alluding to. Look at the pattern that we can identify in lithium. There's your obvious J-hook bobble breakout. What did we expect here? Same movement as here. What enhanced this movement? There's your doji sandwich breakout. So now, somebody was saying, should we be taking profits? And so the question was why? And I said, well, we're moving away from the T-line. Right now, we don't even have a sell signal. So, whoops. So where's our next possible target that everybody be watching? There'd be target number 1, and then maybe target number 2 way up here. So remember, the most important element of a candlestick chart is the signal itself. Now, if something gets way out of whack, that far away from the T-line, yes, you want to be a little bit more attentive. But tomorrow, they open this up here, T-line's going to be up here. That's still not a very extravagant level. And kind of the same scenario, though, over here in PLL. Look where it's running into a little bit of trouble. Now, they reported earnings. I don't know where it is after hours. Let's take a quick look. It's held up. So what's the different trading philosophies here? Well, we can see the fry pan bottom. We know we have a breakout. We know we're at a resistance level, and we've moved a good distance away from the T-line. So what do we want to do here? Obviously, be a little bit more diligent as to what this does tomorrow. This opened lower and started backing off. Okay, that told us they were taking profits right at this level. It opens higher, starts trading higher. Now we have another doji sandwich breakout. So this is, yes, you can always buy things back. And this is exactly the reason we want to know what the nature or what the results are of individual signals. You know, a doji has the doji rule. That's true too, Magic, and that's no problem. If you sold something out and you thought you sold it out too early, do I want to buy this back? The answer should be, is this the best place to be putting my money? Or am I just egotistically saying, oh man, I sold too early, it could be heading up? Well, there's a couple things you can do. One, you go look for another chart that looks like this. Or two, maybe pick out a more conservative strategy and say, all right, I think this is going up. Maybe I want to buy the 75-80 spread. Well, I don't have a lot of money left in it. But if it heads up, I'm still making money. So the answer here should be, this is why I always wait to see a sell signal number 1 and see where it is to the T-line. Because I can't remember. Which one was it? I can't remember. It was a oil stock that did a little kicker signal up through the T-line and just kept going up for the next 3 months. So again, the use of the T-line keeps us from letting our emotions get in our own way by sitting there thinking, and this is another thing. Some people are saying, well, it's too far away from the T-line. If you don't have a sell signal, Remember, that's your number one criteria. Now, that doesn't mean you disregard that. You just may become a little bit more attentive to what is going on that far away from the T line. Let's see, we've been stuck over on this one. We did PLL, ETHX. Nice steady eddy. What do we expect here? That 45 degree. Notice where this occurred, kind of a doji sandwich type signal through the resistance level, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now we might have wave 1, wave 2 going into wave 3, which becomes much more clear using the T-line underneath there. Now Mullen had such great prospects up here. Now it might be time to think about adding some, just because it's now moving in the right direction. Let's see. When to get out of a trade is the probability factor. Notice what NTR did today. It gapped down below the previous day's open and stayed down here. That becomes just a high probability alert that the bulls aren't in control. And you're doing it up here in the overbought condition. That says take profits. What could it do? It could mildly come back and test the T-line and then do a J-hook pattern, or it could come all the way back down here. But the fact that they gapped it down from the previous day's close, and opened it below the previous day's open and stayed down there, what's that? What should that be telling you immediately? The bulls are not in control. Close it out and move on to something else. Oh, and that's what I meant to enhance on your statement, Magic, that yes, you've got something and you're not sure. If you're like me back in the old days, I'd say, oh man, maybe if I sold it and it went up, I'd really feel stupid. And that might be the one that makes big, huge money. Well, I've discovered that 95% of the time or greater, if you do what the chart tells you to do, you'll be happy with yourself. SG. Barry Shirami, you knew where it was probably coming back to, or lower, back to the T-line. So if I didn't close, I would have closed it out on this day, because now we suspect it's coming back here. However, when would you buy? Well, that's telling you the bulls will step back in. There's your doji sandwich. There's your J-hook. Could have been buying today. And so now look what you got on this one. Well, that's not what we have. Oh, why is there space? So now you've got a belt hold on this one. This one doesn't look as good. Let's why. Yeah, there's much better. There's that little days. So there's your belt hold in the oversold area. You've closed right back here at this level. So that's another one that they've kind of wiped out a lot of sellers. So if they start bringing this up, there's not going to be as many sellers in the way anymore. All right, so the rhetorical question, why is this such a strong chart? Your best friend signal after a big series of dojis. A root had a 1 for 18 reverse split. When was that? Henry? So Your best friend signal always should attract your attention. There's your belt hold signal. Started your uptrend. And not only started your uptrend, look what it was doing prior to that, just sideways. Then the belt hold. Oh, they did it today? All right, thank you. So that was a good indication. They've wiped out all the sellers, came back up above the T line. And again, notice your trajectory and notice your trajectory. J-hook pattern. Same question. What started this uptrend? There's your best friend after bouncing off the 200, closing above the T line. Started your uptrend. What started your uptrend here? There's your best friend signal, your breakout through this level, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. How long do you want to hold on to wave 3 until you see a sell signal and a close below the T line? CHRS, your scoop pattern, your double doji, your doji sandwich. So this one's pretty close to 80% increase from down in here. You're in the overbought condition. You're starting to move away from the T line, maybe. So where do you know to put your safety stop? Just below the low of today, because if they come down through there, that's telling you where you should be coming out. SJT, an overbought condition. Do you not have a safety stop below yesterday's open? Yeah, or even a little bit more aggressive, even if it traded lower. But you would definitely have a safety stop below the T line and below. What would that tell you? The bearish Harami doji. What do we know about the doji? They're going to move in the direction of how they open it. So if they open it lower, got a bearish Harami doji confirming the selling. And TDS, there's your bullish flutter kicker signal. There's your J hook. If they start trading this positive, where do you think the next likely target is going to be? BRNT. Now you have a bearish Harami doji right smack dab on the 200. Lost sound. All right. So what does the doji rule tell us? It's going to move in the direction of how they open it, which makes it very visible to see whether they're going to go through the 200 or they're going to fail at the 200. It just, yeah, you could say it's a little bit too far from the T line, but if we know if it does another sideways day, then your T line's up here, which makes it not too far away from the T line. But more importantly, doji right on the 200, bearish doji Harami, doji rule. Which way is it? How's it open? If Magic can't hear us, let's talk about them now. Yep, we can still talk about it. So I don't know why Magic lost sound. Okay, the biggies. Oh, one more. We'll get to the biggies. BFAM. We've been short BFAM. Now, it showed that it closed up here, but after hours, they must have, did they report today? That's not true. Something happened after hours that knocked it down. Now, I close it out. Okay. Here's one thing I don't understand. Right here, it traded 28,000, 32,000, 6,400. Now, did they only trade 336? And down here, oh, that one stopped working. Can't hit it. Sometimes the number's very small, like 62. Oh. So anyways, this one closed down here, which meant I would have closed it out at the end of the day. But something, again, after hours, they apparently reported something. Okay, now the biggies. Tesla. We can see this is definitely a J-hook pattern, wobble breakout. That makes for a very strong chart. I would rather be buying a chart that looks like that, where we know what the pattern looks like, versus, whoops, I wouldn't be buying Apple right now because we don't know which way Apple is going. All right. Thank you. So they sold some right going into the close, apparently. Anyways, but it seems like when I check the after hours volume, there are some that like show that it traded 62 shares. Seems strange. Anyways, so Apple, here's a different scenario. If you're long, you stay long. Was one share, all right, that's what, yeah, that's unusual. They would even do that. Maybe they do that to screw up candlestick charts. I don't know what to tell you there, Magic. Okay, let's see. Now I've gotten off track because poor Magic just lost. NVIDIA, same scenario. There's your J-hook bounce off the 50. Doji sandwich. Definitely be buying this one on positive trading. Yeah, I don't know why that they even record that low of volume. Okay, and Netflix. So you can see the trajectory on Netflix. Doji sandwich breakout, 45 degree. So this is why you want to identify what pattern is setting up in a chart, because on something like Amazon, that's pretty much nothing. Right now, you don't want to be long or short Amazon because there's no trend and there's no signals telling you which way they're trying to take it. So the patterns obviously perform high probability trade setups. Rhythm, EYCR. Another J-hook pattern setup on Paycor with a Morningstar type signal. ENTA. You can see the J-hook pattern setting up very clearly. Again, much more clearly based upon the T-line pretty much being a good support indicator. The fry pan bottom. Is this pattern relevant? Yes, look how they've just broken out. So do we want to buy in the overbought condition? We do if we know it's a pattern breakout. And then ENVX, another bullish flutter kicker type signal. Fry pan bottom. Whoops. Right at the breakout level. This is what creates those high probability trade setups. And you can see how this broke out, not only through the fry pan bottom, but through the pattern or the indicator everybody else was probably watching to see what would happen at the 200. They gapped right through it. What's that tell us? The bullish sentiment at that level was extremely strong. So we're looking for those strong signals. There's your kicker signal. Starting your uptrend on Blue Apron. Even as something as lethargic as Microsoft, look at the kicker signal. So this is where you can use the 2+2. Kicker signal right off the 50. Through this level. If they're bouncing a strong buy signal off the 50 that had been a resistance level, where do you think everybody's watching for the next target? The next major moving average. Well, we did RX, started with that kicker signal. So we also have it in EBVG with kind of your pattern breakout. So the kicker signal is very relevant. It goes right back to, again, people asking if you were going to only pick a few signals, which one would they be? One of them would be the kicker signal. Because that's showing you an extremely powerful force has come back into the price trend, which is usually going to produce that a big price move. Something has happened to cause that strong signal. All right, so another indicator is if you can see that all the lithium mining stocks are trading strong, that means they're buying that sector across the board. That adds that much more relevance, I guess, to buying that sector. And that's fine. Howdy do. I knew that was going to happen. Well. Okay, let's do this correctly. Well, what's going on here? There we go. So here's a little one in the that sector. Try to do a J-hook pattern, and we drew this line because that's a resistance level. So what is the assumption here? Number one, if it does a J-hook pattern, meaning open positive, it's telling us the J-hook pattern is heading higher, telling us also that this resistance level is not acting as resistance. If this is the next wave, at least we can calculate that it's probably heading up here to the 50 or the 200-day and possibly going through, making for heading to much higher levels. So that's everything you can add up in a chart to say, all right, if this opens positive, what's it doing? It's confirming the J hook breaking out through the resistance, heading for the next resistance level. Oops, now I'm on the wrong charts. WWR, you can see what happened here. Fry pan bottom, breakout, probably new investment ramifications on that one. RYI, bobble breakout. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 is more than likely going to take you up above this level. Again, these are all assumptions based on the probabilities of confirming a signal as well as that signal now confirming a pattern. You want to go after a high flyer. Now they've told us the profit taking's over. This information right here might be kicking back in. VRDN. Anytime you see a breakout like this, what's step number one? See if there was news. I think somebody said this was earnings. Number two, see how it opens. What do we expect coming off of here? That 45-degree breakout. DNA. This was acting better earlier, but here's one, at least you know where to be buying this one. It came back up through today's open. Where's your next likely target? Up here. Might take it a while to get there, meaning up 45 degree. Oh, it's up after hours. Let's take a gander here. It is. Did that do it? Yeah, it wasn't even after. Did I do that wrong? Oh, yes. So there was after hours. So that kind of implies we're heading for as high as the 200. Oh, now I'm on the wrong charts again. Yes. It doesn't like to make the same mistake 7 times. A J-hook pattern, pretty much right there. Implication is you're in the next wave. There's your slow curve, fry pan bottom, breakout. And the reason I'm pointing this out is anytime this happens, that tells you something big is happening. I mean, we might not know what it is right away. All we have is the alert that a pattern was setting up and they broke out. Something was causing that breakout. That's where you flip to your news and see what type of, or what happened to cause that price move. Did I do the right one? Oh, yes, because if this breaks out through here, here's our classic pattern, fry pan bottom, J hook. D-cell, look at your morning star signal right smack dab off the 50. Where do you think this one's heading to? Right there. And plug. Did a J hook. Whoops, I meant to look at the other ones. Blink. There's your J hook trend kicker type signal. Another one where you put your safety stop at today's low. If they came back down through there, what's happening? They're coming back to test the 200 to see if it's going to act as support. You buy now on which one is that, man? And CHPT. There's your bobble breakout. So when you see all of them working in the same direction at the same time, I would be a buyer of this one if it comes back up through the highs. That would tell me today's consolidation is over, that wave 3 is still in progress. Okay, so our important thing to watch tomorrow is, one, to see if they're going to get the Dow up through the 200, because obviously everybody and their brother is watching to see what's happening to the 200. The other one was charge point. Same scenario here. I'd be a buyer of this one if it comes up through today's high. It could be a bearish Harami, but notice that your stochastics are still kind of in an uptrend. And you just broke out on a J hook. So obviously it could be a bearish Harami, but it's still above the 3T line. Use the 3T line as support. You just did a bobble breakout, and what's our expectations of a bobble breakout? Wave 1 and wave 3 are going to be the same. So you kind of look at this and say, is this the top, or are we still in this uptrend? Again, that will be the indicators where they open. Let's see. We did fuel cell, right? Fuel cell, seeing what it does here at the 200. Plug was another one. Got a doji up here. Magic. You know, it wasn't any of us. Okay, we were talking about you the whole time. You couldn't hear us, but too bad. All right, so remember, the kicker signals have a strong implication. They're usually going to produce a lot more upside. Somebody was asking today, should you be buying these? And the answer was, because it was doing an indecisive day, Gary took profits. He said, should I buy back? And the answer was, one, I wouldn't buy right now while it's consolidating, because it might be coming back here. And now that I look at it, Gary, again, a positive open would have you doing a doji sandwich breakout. So I'll change that. You could be buying back on positive trading, or start doing spreads up here. Magic, for every time you get faked out on a kicker signal, you're probably going to get 30 plus that are going to work for you. Yep. Remember, The probabilities are that things are going to move higher. Remember, it wasn't a guarantee things are going to move higher. The probabilities are, let's see, and the bigger the signal, the less likely you're getting faked out, because that tells you there's been a lot of change of investor sentiment. So I'm trying to think, there was one the other day where it was a small bullish kicker signal. It was small, and the next day they gapped it right down back below the kicker signal of the previous, or the bullish candle of the previous day. So that kind of negated it. And the transportation index also will give us an indication of what they plan to be doing tomorrow. Okay, so with that, are there any general questions on candlesticks? On NVIV, the heavy selling on the previous candle signal, anything selling, see, on the previous candlestick signal, anything selling all done. I don't understand what you're saying now. Then the heavy selling, meaning on this candle. All right. What did this tell you? That meant everybody was jumping in, probably short covering, all sorts of things. But what was this gap up telling us? For some reason, they were buying this one like crazy. Yep, then didn't confirm. Might have been buying on this day, but closing it out over here. What was the other one that somebody was, oh boy, I can't think of it. There was another big spike up, and then the next day it did a bearish Harami. Was that it? Mego? No, that wasn't quite it. And then this one actually closed up here, didn't it? At the end of the day. But that's, yes, those are toughies. Man, they closed it at 100 and opened it again the second time at 240. Yeesh. DNA is kind of that same scenario, that they spiked it, meaning there's lots of interest in it. Now I'd still be a buyer of this one because you can see what's happening if it comes back up through today's open in tomorrow's trading. NVTA was it. Yes, Joe, it's the actually the futures and the options room. Again, the terminology obviously is going to be a heck of a lot different over there, but it's going to be more oriented on what strategy you use for option trades. Like, for example, I was trying to find a spread that would work for Tesla. And it may have been, I forget what we were looking at, maybe a 90 or 950, 960, but it was still a little bit too expensive. So there's a lot of times where, even though you can see the direction of a price move, you might not be able to find the correct strategy or the one that makes it so you wanted to kind of modify your strategy. So Bob, if you had the calls on checkpoint, he made a good profit, but you're a little bit concerned. Now your strategy might be maybe you're buying a 20 and selling a 22.5. So you've got less money exposed, and if it works, the percentage will still be pretty good. All right, so I forgot what I was. Oh, the best deal out of your EVBG. Did you get shook out, Magic, on this day? All right. So here's my rhetorical question. Is what should be your stop after a kicker signal that is your strongest bullish candlestick signal? Probably you don't want to see it trade back below the open of that candle. Now, is that a big percentage reversal? It definitely is. But the probabilities of that happening is extremely low. So it came down. Yeah, but did it close below the halfway point of this candle? You just had a strong buy signal off the 50. Kicker type signal. Just, yeah, remember, you're still dealing with a very strong bullish signal. Doesn't necessarily mean every trade after that's going to be straight up, but the probabilities are like this. So if you got stopped out, what should be your analysis the next day or today? Right. So remember what the most important factor of the candlestick signals are. Where does it open and where does it close? What it does during the day is just noise. We're interested in where it opened and where it closed. If it had closed down here, yeah, that would have been weak. But remember, the probabilities are that it's heading in this direction. So use this as a learning moment. If you see a kicker signal and you see it back off a little bit, give it time, because that was telling you there's strength coming into it. No. If you heard what we were saying about you when your sound is off, you wouldn't say that. Yeah, and worst case scenario, you get stopped out, and then you see it moving in the direction you expect it to, you can always buy it back in. So why would you be buying back this one? Not because you got clipped out of 85 cents, because the next move might be another $7 move to the upside. Yeah, and you could always buy it back when it came back up through that level. Okay. Yes, look at where it closed. Right here on the T-line as a doji. So what is your trading strategy if you didn't close it out today? It has to open positive. Is the market overbought? Well, it's in the overbought area, but it's been in the overbought area now for 6 weeks. So what's our other parameters for this, or for the trend? Well, we haven't seen a sell signal yet, and we're still above the T-line. S&P, haven't seen a sell signal yet, and we're still above the T-line. So what is our assumption? We're still in an uptrend until we see differently. Hold on to your individual ones, RW, until I tell Jim to do the double line, which we're probably getting close to. All right. We're only going to have a couple more weeks of what would be called the summer doldrums, kind of lackadaisical trading, but you can see even this lackadaisical trading, it's been in a steady uptrend above the T-line. Again, that old scenario of sell in May and go away. Well, would have missed out on a couple moves. Now, not to I want to say, not to chastise a lot of money managers, but remember, you always hear them say you can't time the market, so you need to buy good quality stuff and hold them long term, blah, 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 blah. That's because they don't know how to time the market. We've got much better clarity as to when there's reversal signals, when the trend's continuing, when a trend is fizzling out. A lot more accurate reading of what's happening. Okay, I guess Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.3 seconds, do the next double line. So advanced micro is setting up as a J-hook pattern. So now you want to take a look, see what are the other ones doing. Well, looks like Micron is coming up nicely. AMAT, retro, setting up for a J-hook pattern. So advanced micro, if you can find that all of those in that sector are working, maybe instead you find the ones that have the best percentage prospect in that move. So, or in this current uptrend. So that is one that I would say you can buy it if you like it, but I would see if some of the others in that sector have stronger charts. Oops. I know I don't keep hitting the J here. Shopify. Kathy. That's a very uninteresting chart. I'd be someplace else. Mullen, you can start thinking about buying this one again. Mainly because if it bounces right back up here to the 50, that could be a good 20% upside potential. Gold is in Barrett's. All of them came back up today. So as long as you're above the T-line, oops, I don't need to do this. I can do this. I think it's D. Up, gold hit the 50, now starting to back off a little bit. Silver, that's not the right one. Oh. SI. Silver getting a little bit soggy right here at the 50. So if they start opening lower tomorrow, you probably don't want to be in the gold stocks or silver stocks. Herc, nice fry pan bottom scoopish pattern. Flat handle, fry pan bottom. You could buy this one on positive trading with that doji sandwich breakout of the 50 area as well as that flat handle area. They're a furniture store, right? All right. MVST, another one you could buy on positive trading, kind of your classic pattern. You could buy that one on strength, AT or ATEC, stay long, and see how they never could get back below the T line. Target, are they supposed to be reporting this week? Right now, you just stay long as it stays above the T line. And XP, that's a J-hook type classic pattern. If you like this one, you could be buying it. SPWR, you stay long, have your safety stop at today's low. If it comes back down through there, the dark cloud, the doji, and then maybe an evening star signal in the overbought area, that would kind of indicate it's time to take some off the table. Stone, just stay long as it stays above the T line. Watch to see what happens right here, which would kind of coincide with your 200. CMRX, nothing wildly exciting. Just stay long. ATER, stay long. Big lots, stay long. Frog, that one I'd be a buyer. There's your little doji gap up, bobble breakout. That one I'd be more inclined to start going after. That's right. And bingo, boy, that's a toughie. If it traded lower, they're coming back to test the T line, which tomorrow would probably be up here. To stay long, as you can see your stochastics coming down, and that'd be a toughie. I'd be ready to close this one out on any weakness. PLTR, nothing of any great consequence here. That's kind of a nothing chart. And square, not anything wildly exciting. Getting through this area. I probably wouldn't pay attention to this one until it comes up through this level. And QuantumScape, which is the opposite of square, I would stay long on this one ever since you're kind of a little trend kicker off the T line. Sends, stay long, use the T line and the 200 as your stop. SNDL, this one you can be buying on positive trading. Just make sure your volume is pretty hefty. And we did AMD. Roblex, that's getting a little bit dicey. The only thing you can do here is if you're long, stay long, but it needs to continue to trade positive above the T line. Myrna, boy, that's really nothing exciting either. if you buy it off this Morningstar, Morningstar type signal, you just have to watch to see what happens once they get to the 200. Whoops, did I scroll that fast? How did I do that? MRAM, nice slow curve breakout. Stay long. Might have a safety stop at today's open if you're already long or you're going long. QE. Oops. CHWI. Stay long. Safety stops below today's low. SE. That's a nice J-hook pattern. Breaking out. Stay long on this one. We did QuantumScape. Riot. Another one where you can stay long. Not real exciting, but it's moving in the right direction. JP Morgan. Another one where you stay long again. Use it as an indicator that as long as the big financials are moving positive, that means the market's moving positive. United Health. You could be buying this one on positive trading. You want to see it break out through this level into a new territory. And Sophie. That's a nothing chart. Tony, if you're long, it better show something strong by tomorrow. If it trades flat, go find something better. And then I probably wouldn't pay too much attention until I see a buy signal and start trading back up through that level. ENPH, just stay long as long as your 45 degree is in effect. AMGN, another one that's not very exciting until it gets out through this level. MMI, slow curve. You can buy this one on strength. Classic pattern. Net. Stay long in this 45 degree. I wouldn't be buying here, but if I was long, I'd stay long. Did AMAT. Labu. Kind of telling you that the biotechs are holding up. Stay with it. And Snow. Same scenario. Not anything wildly exciting, but as long as it stays above the T line, you're in an uptrend. Solo. Out of your fry pan bottom. Oh, okay. Is that a Electronic Vehicles Corp? All right. And Nikola getting hit. Nio. Nothing right there just yet. Y. Nothing there. Mullen did have a little bit of activity today. Oh, okay. Thursday. All right. On target. CTRM. RW, nothing. You shouldn't be in this one now. You probably don't want to be back in it until it does a pattern breakout through this level. Target is Wednesday before the market. Okay. Is there some bull and bear ETFs for Tesla? I don't know the answer to that. PYPT? Is that what? Oh, is it PayPal? Okay. Bull ETF, all right. And the video, all right. So I don't know the answer to that, if there's one for Tesla. Stone. Yeah, but it didn't close below the T-line. So this would have been one that if I was owning it because of the fry pan bottom breakout, maybe I would have closed it here. But now I'd get ready to buy it back if it came back up through that level. Whoops. That's because whoops. Just a slow fry pan bottom on this one. Stay long. Want to see it come up through the day's high. Oops, I didn't scroll fast enough again. This one you can stay long as long as they're still above the T-line. And you prefer, obviously, to see this one open positive to continue this trajectory. Don't let it come back down through the T-line. Lucid, nothing. That's just a sideways chart. Wouldn't be long or short. Please clarify, is solo a buy? I thought I said you could buy this one with the anticipation that you're probably at least heading for the 200-day moving average. All right, Henry. Monster, you could buy this one. Obviously, supporting off the 200. Doji. You could buy this one. All you have to do is watch to see what happens at the 50. Oh. If you don't really have a heck of a dynamic chart, it's probably back in an uptrend, but not a real big percentage mover. PRAX, you can buy this one on positive trading. You're getting back into this gap area. Gas, having a hard time getting through this level. Oh. Except it was a bullish candle today. I'm colorblind, so I have to make it big enough. So you want to see it get through this level. And IIVI, bobble breakout. You can get ready to buy this one. On the bobble breakout pattern. And Nordstrom's, another bobble breakout setting up. You could also buy that one. Roblex, it has to trade positive. If it trades lower, it's enough junky trading up here. The stochastic slowly heading down. that you probably want to find someplace better. Monster, and not really. Remember, a cradle was an absolutely flat. This is just dojis down here at the bottom. It's probably a reversal. You wouldn't consider it your best looking charts. There's just too many out here right now that have strong reversals, kicker type signals. All right. Macy's, stay long and crisp. Nothing real exciting there. Okay, it'll be important to see how they open this market tomorrow. Everybody knows it's at the 200 on the Dow. And right now, they're down 56 on the futures. We'll see how that EMBC. Magic. Do I not say that clear enough? There's your kicker signal. You know the kicker signals have a lot more upside. Wouldn't be afraid to be a buyer on this breakout with a kicker signal. Posh, same scenario. Fry pan bottom, breakout with a kicker signal. Well, the SPY was still no sell signal. Still looks like it could touch the 200, and the Qs, same scenarios. Just in an uptrend. That's about all you can analyze. There's no sell signals. Still trading higher. Okay, summer doldrums. The closer we get to September, everybody starts coming back to their desks. That's when we start seeing some good activity. But there's been some good money made in the summer now with specific sectors. All right, with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow. We'll